What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Red Top Report. Elon Musk officially purchased Twitter. So to find out more about this, we brought on our head of marketing, Max Douglas. Max, what's going on, man?
What's going on, dude? Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, honestly. So the way that this worked out was we wanted to do a segment talking about the ramifications and everything with Musk buying Twitter, what that means for a mainstream social platform and conservatives. And I thought, who better to ask than our marketing guy, right?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. You got the Kanye West buying Parler. You've had Gab now for a while, but yeah, it's getting pretty crazy.
It is. And also a quick note, you'll notice our flower mugs. This is something that was requested not to have on here. So Ronan, could you please blur these out afterwards in post?
Yeah, I could probably do that for you.
Awesome. Thank you. You could just do that now. Awesome.
This is not Irish coffee.
Cheers.
This is real coffee.
I wish it was Irish coffee. Okay, so here's my take, and we also have headphones on now so we can hear ourselves, and I'm not always projecting. And actually, I feel a little bit more secure. I don't know what it is, but I understand why people that do this type of stuff.
It's like being in the womb or something, all over again.
It's all over again. It's just
30
a
years
call
ago.
back to the natural order. So Elon buying Twitter, he made a promise or a claim, a statement, an intention was made vocal in public that he would reinstate Donald Trump. But what's happened since Trump's been kicked off Twitter? Gab became a thing. Dan Bongino and Parler became a thing. You have Gettr, which also is kind of run by some libtards as well. So that's an interesting one, but Gettr's a thing. MeWe, all of these different conservative platforms have come about. Do you see Trump coming back to Twitter? What do you see for the conservative movement in social media now that this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, he has his Trump has his Truth Social. I know that I just saw this morning that Elon Musk is cleaning house. Like, he got rid of the head lawyer, the CEO, a couple of other people.
Yeah,
who are
head policymaker and the CFO.
So he's cleaning house. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see where he goes. He's not on Gab. He's on Truth Social right now. And I think that's where he's doing most of his posting. But people want to see Trump back. I saw somebody today tweeted. They said testing the new policy at Twitter. Joe Biden did, and like a string of like roasts on Trump's or on Twitter's old policy. So we'll see. I think he would be stupid to not go back on Twitter. I mean, that's where everybody is, and that's the problem with these other social medias. Gab, Truth Social, Gettr, the ones that you named. It's kind of it's an echo chamber, and you just have the people on there who are already believing and saying all the same stuff.
Yeah, that's it. And we were talking about this a little bit beforehand. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this with like Rumble and stuff too. This idea, it's Rumble from a different angle. But when you have Gab. Also, by the way, before I go into that, I think the biggest thing that prevented Gab from really launching and taking off, everybody was expecting Donald Trump to go on to Gab.
Yeah,
and he never went on.
I heard that was Kushner blocking that.
Really?
He wanted to go on there, and Kushner was like, "No, you can't go on there." Which,
just make your own. And I'd be curious to see how many people actually go on Truth Social, because at the end of the day, it's just another echo chamber. People aren't saying like, oh, here I am with the family at the pumpkin patch. And I'm not saying to get rid of the policies and the statements of your beliefs and the politics and stuff, but you're only going to attract an audience of across the spectrum when you are having the social factor. Otherwise, it's not really a social media platform.
One of the cool things about Facebook is you get on there and you can you post about your political beliefs, and it's your grandma sees it and your liberal uncle sees it and everybody sees it. They're not on redpillsocialmedia.com or whatever.
Red pill, altrightmedia.com.
Altrightmedia.com.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. And also with Trump being a businessman, that's his deal. He's not a politician. So being a businessman, that's a massive investment to have your own social media platform developed. That had to have been hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in development, user testing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and it's only been up for like 6 months. I know they reached out to us. We had a friend who got us VIP access like a year and a half ago. So it's been
Church
in the
Militant.
works. Yeah, Church Militant. So it's been in the works for like a year and a half. When was Trump banned? 2 years ago. So like,
wow,
it's been it's been in the works for 2 years. So I can't imagine Trump's just gonna be like, oh, okay, well that was fun. I'm going back on Twitter. Let this thing die off. But yeah, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because, yeah, do you go back to Twitter and then still hold your Truth Social? I mean, they're essentially operating the same way. That's really what it is. Truth Social is just the conservative Twitter without any radicals. And also, this is interesting. I wanted your take on this. You, in a lot of these articles, like Reuters, for example, they released something on Friday talking about some of the more radical liberals and stuff. They're saying, I'm not going to leave Twitter. I'm going to leave Twitter if they're going to open it back up to a massive cesspool of, in their opinion, losers. So if that's the case, and then there's a massive exodus from Twitter, where are those people going to go?
Yeah, that would be, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be ironic? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, bluepill.net.
Bluepill.net, gender surgery allies.com, or
Yeah, but then it's just an echo chamber for them.
It's an echo chamber for them, yeah. Well, and it's just, I think that's symptomatic of what's already going on in people's minds and hearts. It's people are becoming more and more divided. Trump policies, whatever you want to say about Trump, he did definitely drew a line in the sand, and it was just like, you're either for me and for these things, or you're not. And if you weren't, then or if you were, then you were a racist, and if you weren't, then you're basically a globalist. So he he used that rhetoric quite a bit. So I think what you're seeing in social media is just a symptom of the greater thing that's going on in human hearts.
Dude, here's a Catholic take. Maybe it might be a hot take. You look at Gab, Getter, Truth Social, Parler, if those continue to exist, and you see something happen where a whole bunch of liberals are like, we're going to make our own thing since the conservatives are taking back power, and they make, genderreassignmentsurgery.com, both of those would result in self-destruction. And the reason I believe that is because neither of them, even the alt-right stuff, do not have the fullness of the truth. They're not Catholic-led. They're not Catholic-oriented.
Yeah. And I think they've tried. I remember like 8 years ago, someone tried to start a Catholic social media network.
It's just not going to take.
There was like 5 people on there.
Yeah. You're not going to even consider a Catholic nation, for example. A Catholic nation couldn't even exist or subsist and survive unless it was growing, unless it was going out into the world and saying, hey, our ideas are better. It ties in with what our Lord said to Peter with this idea of, the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. And that means the gates of hell, that's a defensive mechanism. The church, the truth, is designed to go out into the world and break down their gates, their walls, and dominate that. So if we're always retreating, we're always running and saying, let's huddle up, and only have people of like mind, the only thing that could happen there is those people within the walls become corrupted.
Yeah, and I think, you have with these groups, people are always drawn towards tribalism and tribalistic things, and it's becoming that kind of echo chamber. I think if you try to start something like a Catholic social media network, you're within a niche. There's only so many practicing Catholics who are like on social media who want to have their own little groups. So it's interesting to see the thing you have with Twitter. And what Elon has with Twitter is you have this sort of like brand equity. You have this brand recognition where you're reaching a wide audience, and it's going to be interesting to see where he falls on the policy decisions. Is he going to? I don't think he's going to allow like the Ku Klux Klan, but is someone like Alex Jones going to be allowed back on the platform? I mean, he's already said Donald Trump. It's going to be interesting where he falls on the political spectrum. I mean, he's tweeted some he does like the Giga Chad memes, and he memes at the left quite a bit, but I don't know. I mean, he's one of those guys who it's hard to put your finger on him. Is he a little more conservative leaning, and is he actually going to like live up to that? It's a hard thing to do in these days, and especially someone of his sort of notoriety. At the same time, he's a multi-billionaire, and he could just be like, well, I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't care. I'm going to ban these people, and I'm going to let all these people back on. It's my platform.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but from a business perspective, will that survive? And I think that when you start highlighting all of this, the argument only comes back to the conclusion, in my opinion. You're going to lose no matter what, to some extent. If you only make policies that favor the more conservative mindset, because they're the ones who've been burned in the last 2, 3, 4 years, then you're going to piss off a whole bunch of people on the left.
Yeah.
But if you allow it to have a bunch of people on the left running and ranting and raving, but then you're burning a lot more of the rhetoric on the right, then they're going to leave. So then you open up the entire platform, then that is an aggressive spectrum. And at that point, it's just like our Lord, who made the world and free will and says, you guys can do whatever you want. You're almost acting as a miniature replication of that on the internet, in the e-world.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, what do you? That's interesting. What do you think? What do you think Elon's aim is? That's kind of something I've been pondering. Like, what is his aim with buying Twitter? Is it because he wants something like that, where it's this total free speech platform where everybody can say whatever they want? It's whatever, it's First Amendment. Everyone can say and do what they want. Is it a business decision? Does he want the data? We know Tesla's primarily a data company. It's hard to put a.
Well, he's always hiding behind a little bit of a curtain. He's like the Wizard of Oz in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what's going on. But dude, we're wrapping up. This flew by. We're already at like 10 or 11
minutes. Is it 10 minutes?
Oh my. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Anytime you want to come on again, if you like what you heard from the old Max here, Maximilian Swolesby, as we like to call him here at Church Militant, let us know in the comments, and we'll have you. I don't know what's my close. I'm forgetting it. We'll catch you next time on Red Top Report. Away from grace, run into the box, run it, check it.